What I'd like to share with you is some thinking that I've been doing over the last few years about leadership, and that being the final frontier for us, because we have a problem, Houston. We have a problem of leadership generally in the world, but also there's a problem, I think, with us and the way that we articulate our role. And so it's some thinking around that I'd like to share with you today. And some of this has been captured in a book that I wrote with a very good colleague of mine called Paul Willis, called Strategic Public Relations Leadership. But I want to take you beyond some of the initial thinking on that. And just to show that we are serious in research, I was a practitioner for many years. I worked very closely with practice. This piece of work, the founding model for this was actually developed for the National Health Service in the UK, which is the world's fourth largest organisation. And we've calibrated it with the public sector more broadly and with the private sector. And also we've taken this model around the world to test whether or not it has any global applicability, and it has. And I'm filled with puzzlement. Those of you who know me will know that that's not a rare thing. But on this occasion, I'm puzzled because I constantly ask myself the question, why doesn't public relations fulfill its potential? And then the second question is, why is leadership in such a problematic state at the moment? And if we look at the work that the World Economic Forum does every year on the World Issues Agenda, you will see that the third most pressing issue facing the world today is lack of leadership. And if you look at those other topics, I think you'd agree with me that many of them could be solved if there was some real leadership. And I'm asking myself the question, is the lack of leadership more generally, and the fact that public relations has not actually got the traction that it deserves and should have, is there a link between those two at all? And it's interesting that the World Economic Forum is asking itself the same question. What is it about this communication thing that we need to begin to embrace? So just moving on then through that, a key question for us, we all know that Simon Sinek and his book Start With Why, and chief executives being challenged to think through the question of why their organizations exist. I wonder if we ever ask ourselves the question, and what's the purpose of public relations? What's the why for us? And this is a real challenge for us. And I'm with Robert Heath here, that I think the why for us is to help build community, fully functioning organizations that contribute to fully functioning societies. And again, just alluding to the Global Alliance, and it was amazing, a parallel that the work that the Arthur W. Page Society did on developing corporate character. We did the same thing in the Global Alliance through the Melbourne Mandate a couple of years ago, when we were thinking through what the contribution is of public relations to organizations. 3 areas here, I'm not going to go through them all. One is character, one is listening, which we don't do, and the other is responsibility. For too long, colleagues, we've been fiddling with shadows. We have our obsessions. One year it's reputation, another year it's evaluation. We need to start fixing trees. We need to get to the heart of organizations and make them sound from the inside. And then our organizations will flourish and get the support of the people it counts on in order to play a full and functioning part of society. So I'll leave that thought with you, and I thank you very much indeed for inviting me here today. Thank you so much.